there's no way you can justify paying CeeDee without signing Dak.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you justify paying CeeDee and not guaranteeing that you're gonna get the most out of his investment by knowing who your quarterback is to get him the ball? You can't pay CeeDee and go with potluck and quarterback in 2025.
Oh my. Clarence Hill absolutely came with the fireworks as he was a guest on The Final Word with LawsNation, Boss Cowboy Sports, Big Game James, OC, all those guys. First of all, I just want to say that was an excellent piece of content. It was about 2 hours of real football dialogue. They need to just take that whole stream and paste it on ESPN in the primetime spot, because that was real football talk right there, bro. That's the kind of stuff the real football fans like to hear. If you guys want to hear the full 2-hour conversation, be sure to check it out on LawsNation channel, on Boss Cowboys channel, so that way y'all can get the full scope of what was being discussed, because there was a lot of good stuff in that discussion. And we're going to touch on a couple of the things that Clarence Hill actually discussed with the guys on today's show. First things first, let's address exactly what he just said in the preceding clip. Absolutely. You cannot justify paying CeeDee Lamb what you're going to pay him, what you're going to have to pay him, without having a tried and true quarterback there to help you get the most out of your investment. That is what Dak Prescott means to CeeDee Lamb's contract negotiations. Make no mistake about it. And that may not just be one-sided. That may not just be echoing the thoughts or the sentiments of the Joneses sitting from the top of the kingdom in the front office. That may also be CeeDee and his agent's thoughts as well. As CeeDee, like, I don't want to be stuck here for 4 or 5 years without a real quarterback, so I can be over here pouting and moaning and groaning on the sideline and side-eyeing my coaches and walking away from the team and hold my damn shoulder pads and get upset. CeeDee, do y'all want to see 4 to 5 years of that with CeeDee Lamb? Because rest assured, if we either use Trey Lance, which I don't know why so many of you guys are sold on Trey Lance as being the savior of the franchise, as being the guy that's going to get us over the hump, because Clarence Hill kept it real as it pertains to Trey Lance. And it's crazy because a lot of the stuff that Clarence Hill was actually saying in this interview, in the sit-down interview with LawsNation and Boss Cowboy and Big Game James, a lot of stuff that he was actually saying, I've been saying on this channel, including the point about if Dak Prescott's contract doesn't get done, then more than likely the entire face of this franchise is going to look completely different. You're probably not going to have CeeDee, and you might not have Micah, depending on whether or not Micah wants to be here playing a great defense for a bum-ass offense. So Dak and his contract could be a huge domino that causes other dominoes to fall and really turn this franchise upside down on its head, like so many of you fans seem so horny to do for some reason. Y'all sound like Sean Sharif off of 105.3 at this point, where you're saying there,
the positive influence on my right shoulder wants the Cowboys to win 12 games again and hopefully make it to the NFC Championship game. But with the way that they've handled this offseason, the devil on my left side, and I don't want this as my preference, I want to make that clear, but the left side is like, I just want to see it all burn to hell. I want to see it implode right in Jerry and Steven's face.
Hey, if it blows up in Jerry and Steven's face, it blows up in the fans' faces too. We can't turn our emotions off. What don't people understand about that? I cannot fathom that mindset, as hoping that my rooting interest has a terrible season because they made it to the playoffs 3 years in a row. They won 12 games 3 years in a row, and they're playing some of the best football that they've played as a franchise in the history of their organization since the 90s. Yet I'm outraged, and I want all of this negativity to happen because of what? Because we're trying to teach a lesson to billionaires, something that the common man just can't do. Why are y'all so concerned with trying to do something that the common man cannot do? We can't teach Jerry a damn thing unless the entire Cowboys fan base gets on one accord. We stop buying tickets, stop buying merchandise, stop going to AT&T Stadium, not just for Cowboys games, but for events as well. We stop supporting the Cowboys as a whole monetarily. That's the only way you're going to teach the Joneses a lesson. Hoping that somehow these negotiations blow up in their face. What is that going to do for us? What lesson is that going to teach them? How long is it going to take for that lesson to set in? And how are they going to employ the lessons learned from being taught that lesson in their next situation? Oh, We don't know, because we don't know when the next actual franchise quarterback would be back on this team. But we do know Trey Lance ain't that. And we got eyes on the inside of the star to verify essentially just that. Here's Clarence Hill's thoughts on Trey Lance versus Cooper Rush versus Dak Prescott in that quarterback room, and what do you do with it going forward in the future?
What's the deal? Is Trey Lance, is that backup quarterback? Can Cooper Rush still put sweat behind Trey Lance?
You know, I like Trey. Great kid.
Okay.
Great attitude. He is not throwing more passes than me or you.
Wow.
Okay, going back to high school, not just college. He didn't play a lot in college. Didn't play a lot in high school. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of projection. You know, the problem is that San Francisco overdrafted him. There's not a lot of time on task going back to high school. You know, you look at the quarterback that was drafted this year, the kid from Washington, the kid from Oregon, they have way more snaps watching, you know, seeing defenses and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, than Trey Lance ever has. I mean, going back to high school. And again, he works hard, he studies hard, but you don't see, you know, when Patrick Mahomes was the backup quarterback and behind Alex Smith, you heard the wow, you heard the chatter. Oh, this dude's good. You know what this dude is doing. You ain't heard none of that. Yeah, you heard him that he works hard, he has good attitude, has good arm, he's mobile, but you haven't heard none of that. But he's not been better than Cooper Rush.
Damn.
In running the offense.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the best vote of confidence now, does it? Those of y'all that are so convinced that Trey Lance is the savior, what do you have to say for yourself? Because if you actually take a look at it, what Clarence Hill said here was absolute facts. You see, Trey Lance was a product of right place, right time, right organization, wrong decision. He only played 19 games for North Dakota State, 2 in 2018, 16 in 2019, and 1 in 2020. North Dakota State was 19-0 in the games in which Trey Lance appeared. His college career came amid a 39-game winning streak for the Bison. So guess what? All that winning he was doing can't even be attributed to him. He didn't even account for half of that winning streak, ladies and gentlemen. They were already beating the brakes off of teams. Trey Lance is not the reason that they won 2 national championships and all this other stuff, especially seeing that he won one of those championships when he only appeared in 2 games. His best season was going 192 for 287 for 2,700 passing yards, 28 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, 1,100 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns. A good season indeed, especially when you're on a team that's already steamrolling that entire conference. So again, 19 games his entire time in college. Even worse, just like Clarence Hill said, if you look at Trey Lance's statistics for his time in high school, he only had 1,000 yards passing, 10 passing touchdowns, averaged 113.9 yards per game, and he threw for 1 interception. Ladies and gentlemen, I live in Texas. I have actually gone to high school with guys that have literally surpassed that amount of statistics within 2 or 3 games in a high school season. He wasn't even a standout high school recruit. So why is it that just because Trey Lance was overdrafted by the 49ers, like Clarence Hill said, because make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, that was a reach. So why is it that because Trey Lance was overdrafted by the 49ers, so many of the Cowboys faithful believe that this man has something special in the tank, when the truth is no one really knows exactly what he is. Trey Lance is a giant project player that has not played a lot of football, and it's foolish to believe a dude that's played, less than 30 games between college and high school will possibly come into the NFL and somehow understand what the hell he's seeing on the field, man. And here's the facts, y'all. Here's the facts. Clarence Hill laid it out for us perfectly. Here's the facts.
It's not my job to balance your budget. That's a you problem.
You're right.
And the problem here is that as Cowboy fans, we often want the player to take less money to fit the cap for Jerry Jones.
Right. True.
Okay. If you know, did the Cowboys ever take anything less when they're the ones who asking for money? Tickets. From them $15 beers, from them $100 parking. Whenever they do business with anybody, they always put the Cowboy tech. Well, you dealing with the Cowboys, you got to pay extra. Right. You got to pay more because of the extra visibility. But they never, even when during the losing, even the disappointment, they're not discounting anything. But yet, we're openly wanting players to take less money and not get top market value.
As fans, We shouldn't give a damn about how much of the salary cap players are taking up. Because again, as fans, that is not our responsibility. As players, it is not their responsibility to manage the cap for the Joneses. That responsibility falls flatly at the feet of the Joneses. So stop, as fans, taking ownership of said responsibility and trying to force guys to take contracts that would be a disservice to every other professional in their field. Dak Prescott putting up the type of seasons that he has put up, being treated the way he has been treated in his contract negotiations in the past, getting franchise tag, not getting his money when he was supposed to be getting it, the way he's been treated, and then taking an under the market deal would absolutely be a slap in the face to everyone else that's looking to get paid after him.
Dak will be doing a disservice to his fellow brethren.
Yeah.
His fellow NFL quarterbacks, NFLPA, by taking a below market deal.
Yeah. Facts.
True.
Yeah.
Facts. No lie.
And that's the thing that you guys have to understand is the players are already operating under trickle-down economics, essentially. Let them go ahead and catch all the raindrops they can in their bucket, and let's stay out of that, guys, because that ain't got nothing to do with us. And as Clarence Hill said, it's going to happen regardless. Because guess what? Dak Prescott's contract has been set up to do this entire time.
And you go back to, you know, the Emmitt Smith, the Troy Aikman, the Tony Romo, Jason Witten, everybody they wanted to keep got paid. I mean, you know, sometimes they made bad decisions on who they paid, and they paid them too early or whatever else. But most of the time, the guys that the Cowboys wanted to keep got paid. It's frustrating, this cycle, because there's no question that when they signed Dak to that contract in 2020,
right,
or after the 2020 season, it was with every intent to redo the deal. That's why they had that high cap number. That's why it had a $59.4 million cap hit in the final year of his deal. He was never supposed to play on this deal.
At this point, Jerry and Steven are just dragging their feet because their jaw is hitting the floor because they never expected that the cap and the amount of money that they would have to pay would jump up this much. Joke's on you, Jerry and Steven. It's y'all bad. Y'all should have been on top of your job way before this ever happened. And not saying they could have got deals done or anything like that, because like Clarence Hill brought up, who's to say that Dak Prescott and CeeDee and all their guys as agents would have accepted getting a contract done a year early before this type of thing became an issue? They understand how much money is on the table to be made and how they can make that money. That's why they have agents in place. We got to stop assuming that the Cowboys had all of the power to even get these contracts done early anyways. The facts of the matter are they got two guys that are due to be paid and one guy that's due to be paid next season that are going to be top of the market type guys. You pay those guys their money, you take your next 4 or 5 swings at this thing in the playoffs and trying to get a championship, and then you pick your ball up and go home at the end of the day if it doesn't work and retool and try all over again. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your avenue. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your plan for this team. The contracts will get done. We just don't know when they'll get done, but we do know they will get done. And if they don't get done, then we got to have a whole other type of conversation. Either way, we still them same old Cowboys. I see you guys on the next one.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.